All right, we're gonna get into this one, guys. Let me just click play. Let's go for this. Men Against Nonsense, the movement.
Raise your right hand.
Business owner Michael Demetrio Sr. is suing his son for a loan paying off a dirt bike. Defendant Eric Demetrio says no one asked the plaintiff to pay off the loan.
Sir, you're suing your son over here, and it looks like you have been moved to the point where you're fed up. I think you're trying to make a point here.
Certainly do, Your Honor.
All right, now let's see. We're talking about one dirt bike that you wound up with.
Now I'm gonna stop here. Or pause here for a second. Let me say this. I don't think two things. Let me say two things. No son should do anything to make his father take him to court. That's absolutely ridiculous. All right? That's nonsense. You should not put your father in a position where he has or he feels his only course of redress is to take you to court and sue you. Okay, two. As a father, I'd never take my son to court. Even if I had a point to prove, I wouldn't take him to court. For me, I'd just cut him off. Okay? All right, you owe me, you don't want to pay up. Fine. Nothing I can do for you. You go out there and get it on your own. Since you don't want to be a man against nonsense. You want to be actively engaged in nonsense. It's nonsense not to pay back what you owe. So I don't want any involvement with you. Don't call me. You know, you can check on your mom. Don't call me until you're ready to man up and pay what you owe. And that's the respectable thing to do. But let's keep going.
Co-signing on?
Yes, sir.
Now, the defense from your son over here is interesting. He sold the bike to his brother. Are you the brother? Yes, sir. Come on up. You paid your younger brother a good sum of money and you got nothing. Not one payment at all of what your brother gave to you to the finance company.
Right. And I've been waiting over a year.
Yeah, hold on. Now over here.
Look at this mess. This is chaos.
Somehow or another that you're a little peeved with your father?
It's because the promissory note had other stipulations in it versus the phone conversation he and I had and agreed
He's
on.
31.
All right, sir. You're here to
wild.
make your point. Make it.
Back in 2002, Your Honor, I believe a couple of months, 2-3 months before, I don't have the exact date, before he got married, he approached me. He wanted me to cross-sign for this dirt bike. Me, my wife, and him went down to the shop. He was buying a dirt bike.
Hey, let me hold on. Let me pause there. Listen. If you can't pay for your toys, don't ask nobody to help you pay for your toys. You're a grown man. That's like borrowing money for video games or something. Stop borrowing money. Listen, you're a grown man. Go work for what you want. Even if it's just for your little entertainment, I would recommend against it. It's called wasting money. But hey, if you earned the money, you can spend the money. Don't borrow money for entertainment. It's dumb. It's nonsense. We're men against. By the way, that includes putting entertainment on your credit card. It's dumb. Don't use a credit card to finance entertainment. Are you a retard? You're spending more money than it's worth after interest payments. Why would you put entertainment on a credit card? Now, some people are anti-credit cards. I have my problems with credit cards, but here, if you're going to use that to make money, if the credit card is financing something that's making money and you're going to make more than the interest payment, it makes sense. But if you can avoid it altogether, avoid it altogether. But definitely don't use credit cards to finance entertainment, and don't borrow money to finance entertainment. Dirt bikes. 31 years old. Foolishness.
$800. The credit that I gave him, the $400 credit, because the selling price, the agreed selling price to him, it was $2,000. $700 less than what he owned the bike.
Well, hold on a second. Did you give him $2,000?
I gave him 16 and told him he wouldn't see the last 4 until I got a paperwork for
Till
it.
you got the pink slip. All right, so what happens is, I'll fast forward it a little bit since you're here to make a point. that you got contacted by a collection agency, right?
No. During those 5 years, during that contract that he had for 5 years, I was keep asking him, Eric, I don't want my credit to be messed up. What are you doing with it? Dad, don't worry, I've only been late in 1 or 2 payments. When he paid the $1,600, during that time I was keep telling him, make him provide a pink slip.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You lying to your father, man, as a grown man? 31 years old, he said 5 years ago. This all started 5 years prior to the recording of this video. So you were 26 years old lying to your father. That's some kid stuff. Like 10 years prior to that, like being 16, lying to your father. And I don't think you should be lying to your father at age 16. Or any age for that matter, but you're supposed to be transitioning into manhood. You run around lying to your father at 26. Men, don't lie to your father. That's nonsense. And you shouldn't be doing anything that makes you feel compelled to lie to your father. That's nonsense. Right? Because if you have to hide what's happening, and you know it's nonsense. You know it's nonsense.
Because I knew the bike wasn't paid. So finally, when he paid the $1,600, he took off. He did not give him the last payment.
No pink slip.
No pink slip either, Your Honor.
Why? Because the finance company had not been paid off.
I then waited 7 months. During the 7 months, here I come again and I ask him, what are you doing with the bike? This matter needs to be taken care of because, again, now I'm finding out it's a charge-off in my account.
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
This man told his son that he should go kill himself.
I did.
Because I
Yeah,
went-
I mean-
hey! I did.
That's a little extreme, but you know, I mean,
We're back.
again, he's lying. I mean, he's lying to his father. You get your brother involved. You earned an extra $1,600, so you're swindling your own brother. I mean, like, you swindled your father, then you swindled your brother. Like, that's just, I mean, that's not a man at all. There's nothing man-ish about this, and it makes other men look bad. You know, because women will watch videos like this one and say, yeah, look at how men do, look how they do their own, right? We gotta do better, man. We
Mr.
gotta
Brown,
do
the
better.
plaintiff in this case, says his son
A
was
lot
trying to
better.
get a dirt bike and needed help, so he co-signed on a loan. He says the defendant fell behind on payments, then lied about it, sending the account into collections. Let's take a look.
The sum that you paid off would now be worth, computed to last month, $4,276.
Yes, sir.
And actually, you seem to have compromised with them so they didn't get the full amount.
Your Honor, I consulted with my wife, and we decided after the 7 months to give him 10 working days to come up with some proof. Guess what, Your Honor? No proof.
So what did you do?
I got mad, put my wife on the phone, she paid the bike off.
That's nice of you.
He got off work that night. I called him on the phone, and I said, this is the issue we have here. I gave you all the time that I could, no more. So you need to pay it. I hear on the background, Your Honor, he cross-signed. He's responsible. It's his problem.
Oh, that's your daughter-in-law.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's a lot.
But then
Wow.
again, he agreed to pay it. He says the best I can do is $100 a month, or maybe more when I can. It's the day he comes over, April 19th, he gives me $100 cash. Who left it open? No date. Couple of weeks later, I want a commitment from this guy that's been lying to me for 7 years now.
Now, what do you have to say?
Back in 2002, yes, he did co-sign on a bike for me. Yes, I was making payments. The only thing I can say about the late payments and not making the payments is, Your Honor, life happens. I lost my job. I wasn't able to keep the payments up. When I was able to make the payments,
Well, why'd you lie to him?
Whoa. Life does happen. Now let me say this: life does happen. But you got $1,600 from your brother, which could have been payments made on the bike. It was only $3,000 if I looked at that sum. So that means that those payments weren't super high. So he could have made a couple of payments with $1,600. He didn't. He didn't. And life happens. You lose your job, you go get another one. That's weak. That's copping the deuce, making an excuse. We don't do that as men. Especially not men against nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. Life happened to me. I went and got 3 jobs. Yeah. I had a contract that didn't go through. I went and got 3 jobs to pay off my debt. Absolutely. I'm not saying I didn't rack up the debt. I racked up the debt. But I went and got 3 jobs and paid it off. And I'm talking about in a month and a half, I paid off over $8,000 in debt. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. I even fed my friend, one of my friends I was working with, because I thought his life was worse than mine. Man, that's what it's like to be a man against nonsense. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm saying that's a cop-out. And you do this to your own father. I hope some of you guys aren't out here doing this to your own father, let alone any other man. Don't burn another man like that. That's nonsense. And don't burn your wife or your sister or your mother either. That's not a state of manhood.
Lie to him about what?
Excuse me, Your Honor, I got to jump in on this one. He lost his job, he's got no money, but he's got money to go to Georgia for 1 week.
I have
The
got
Dukes of Hazzard's showdown.
Oh, he went on
This is the
vacation.
point. Let me buy.
He had money to go on vacation. I know some people like that. Borrow money, but then go on vacation. That ain't right. That's nonsense. That's nonsense.
Past all this flack. Forget that. What he's trying to do is he's old school. So he's concerned about whether his sons are going to display the proper attributes for being men.
I don't need his help being a man.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, you do.
You sure did. You needed this money.
One thing that could have happened is if you'd been straight up with him, he'd have given you some
was straight
slack.
up with
But
him,
you
Your Honor.
deceived him to his detriment. Now, what do you have to say about it, since you're the one heard in the background?
Look at her.
He
Look at her.
co-signed it,
Look at her.
so let him pay for it.
Look at her.
Because this is typical.
What?
This man told his son that he should go kill himself.
I did.
Because I
Yeah,
would.
hey! I did.
Now listen, I'm sorry to laugh. Look, hey, this dad, that's a. I like him, cause he didn't cop the deuce. He said, "Look, yeah, I told him to go kill himself." I don't think he should have done that, but he was honest enough to. Yup, I did. He let his emotions get to him, which is probably why he said that. You know what I'm saying? He was hurt that his son would do what he was doing to him. But he was honest enough to say, I did. He didn't stand in front of Judge Joe Brown and say, "No, I ain't say that, Your Honor." So I will give him a clap for that, for being honest. Because honesty is a characteristic of a man, a real man.
Well,
So don't you get in the way of father trying to make a man out of his son.
well,
Absolutely.
Now, yeah, you get this. Now, when are you going to be a man? You have a son
I
at
have
home.
been.
You look, you got the same deal with your son that you had with him. See, it goes up and down. You
Up and
got to
down.
compact his son to dad. Dad has to you. He came through. You didn't come through with him. So you got a bad precedent, because that means you may not come through for your son. Plus, guess what? What goes around comes around.
Judge Joe Brown makes his ruling after this.
I mean, we don't even have to watch the rest of that. I'm sure of which way Judge Joe Brown is going to rule. But listen, man, don't borrow money for your entertainment. That's the lesson of this that I think that you get from it. And then two, stop all of this weak lying about everything. Every last thing. You'd be better off keeping your mouth shut and not having anything to say before lying. Because then you got to cover that lie. You know that? You got to cover that lie. And that just leads to more nonsense, right? And we're men against nonsense. Hey, you guys have a blessed one. Check me out on the next one. I hope we learning and growing together.